The transition of the United States and Mexico into a single sovereign entity, the United Republic of North America, is not merely a political merger. It is the birth of a continental colossus. To understand how such a massive undertaking would unfold, we must look at the foundation of this new state, its geography, its sprawling population, the economic synergy of its parts, and how it would inevitably dwarf every other global power in history. The geography of this new nation would be its greatest asset, spanning from the Arctic Circle in Alaska down to the tropical jungles of Chiapas. The Republic would encompass nearly 5 million square miles of territory. This would make it the third largest country on Earth, larger than China and nearly triple the size of the European Union. This vast landmass provides a level of strategic depth and resource diversity that no other nation could match. In the north, the Alaskan wilderness and the American Rockies provide timber, minerals, and massive freshwater reserves. In the center, the Great Plains, the breadbasket of the world, provide the caloric security necessary to feed a massive population. To the south, the Mexican Plateau and the volcanic Cordilleras offer immense mineral wealth, including silver, copper, and lithium, which are essential for the 21st century green energy transition. Control over the coastline would be absolute. The Republic would dominate the North Atlantic, the North Pacific, and the entire Gulf of Mexico. This three-ocean strategy would allow the nation to project power and conduct trade with Europe, Asia, and South America simultaneously, without ever being dependent on a single maritime route. The integration of Mexico's deep-water ports, like Veracruz and Manzanillo, with American hubs like Long Beach and Savannah, would create a shipping network that handles more tonnage than any other system in the world. While land provides the stage, the people provide the energy. A unified North America would boast a population of over 460 million people. However, the importance of this number lies not just in its size, but in its composition. Most developed nations today are facing a demographic crisis. The United States is aging, with a shrinking birth rate and a growing silver generation. Mexico, by contrast, possesses a significantly younger median age. By merging, the two nations solve each other's greatest social problems. Mexico's youthful, energetic workforce would fill the labor gaps in the American North, providing the tax base necessary to sustain social security and healthcare systems. Conversely, the American education and capital markets would provide the Mexican youth with the tools to innovate and build wealth at a pace never before seen in Latin America. The cultural fusion would be equally transformative. This would be the world's most successful bilingual experiment. Within 2 generations, the distinction between American and Mexican would fade into a new continental identity. The American dream would no longer be a climb into a suburban middle class, but a cross-continental journey. A student born in Oaxaca might study aerospace engineering in Boston before launching a startup in Guadalajara. This mobility of human capital would make the Republic the world's undisputed leader in patents, artistic output, and technological breakthroughs. Economically, the United Republic would be an apex predator. By combining the world's largest consumer market, the U.S., with one of its most efficient manufacturing hubs, Mexico, the nation would achieve a state of autarky, the ability to be completely self-sufficient. The combined GDP would hover around $30 trillion, nearly double that of China. The North American dollar would become the undisputed global reserve currency, backed by the most stable legal system and the largest gold and energy reserves on the planet. The benefits of this union are most visible in infrastructure. Currently, the border acts as a friction point that costs billions in lost time and logistics. In a unified nation, these barriers vanish. A continental New Deal would see the construction of high-speed rail corridors connecting the Great Lakes to the Yucatan Peninsula. Energy grids would be integrated, allowing solar power generated in the scorching Sonoran Desert to light up skyscrapers in New York City, while wind energy from the Texas-Oklahoma corridor powers the industrial parks of Monterey. When compared to other global powers, the Republic would have no equal. While China has a larger population, its demographic is aging rapidly, and it lacks the agricultural and energy independence of North America. The EU is a collection of sovereign states with competing interests. The Republic would be a single federal entity with a unified military and foreign policy, allowing it to move with a speed and decisiveness that Brussels could never replicate. The sources of this nation's power would be fourfold: food, fuel, finance, and firearms. 1. Food. Between the Midwestern Corn Belt and the year-round growing seasons of southern Mexico, the Republic would be the world's largest food exporter. In a world facing climate instability, the ability to feed oneself and others is the ultimate form of soft power. 2. Fuel. The Permian Basin in Texas and the offshore reserves in the Gulf of Mexico, combined with the untapped shale of the Mexican North, would make the country the largest oil and gas producer in history. 3. Finance. Wall Street would remain the world's counting house, but it would now be fueled by the explosive growth of the Mexican middle class, creating a feedback loop of investment and consumption. 4. Firearms. The unified military would possess a blue water navy larger than the next 10 navies combined, with bases stretching from the Aleutian Islands to the Caribbean, ensuring that no rival could ever approach the continent's shores. Of course, this narrative is not without its shadows. The unification would be the most difficult political feat in human history. The integration decades would see massive civil unrest as labor unions in the North fear wage suppression and traditionalists in the South fear the erosion of their local culture. The legal challenge would be immense. The United States operates on a system of common law, while Mexico uses civil law. Merging these two into a single North American code would take thousands of lawyers' decades to resolve. Furthermore, the issue of internal security, specifically the dismantling of the powerful cartels, would require a unified federal police force with powers and a budget that would make the current FBI look like a local precinct. If these challenges are met, the result is a North American century. The United Republic would represent the final evolution of the Enlightenment ideals that founded both original nations. A land where opportunity is not bounded by a line in the sand, but by the limits of one's own ambition. It would be a nation that is truly from sea to shining sea, an experiment in unity that proves that diversity is not a weakness, but the fuel for the most powerful engine of progress the world has ever seen.